Hello everyone and welcome. This is Christine with Pattercrafts, and today I thought I would make a couple of cards using the Stitch Poinsettia die from Fawn. So these are two flowers that I've already made. I did a combination of a variety of red cardstocks along with some foil paper. So the foil paper that I am using is from Michael's. It came in, one pack had red and green and one pack had gold and silver. And I really liked it because the thickness of the paper is sturdy. It doesn't really tear, so you do have to cut it. But that is what I used. And the cardstock, it's just, or the red cardstock, that's just paper I've had around. I'm not sure if it's from Michael's or Joann's, or it's probably from one of those two based on the weight. I try to keep my nicer cardstock in a different place. But I have lots of this that I need to use up, so I'm pretty excited about using this die. This is a new to me die. I picked it up recently and just barely remembered I had it. I need to make some more Christmas cards. I am a little short and I made a few of these really quickly, and yet they looked really, really pretty. So this set comes with all of these different pieces. Oh, here's the other one. So you can cut out the 3 sets of petals, the 2 leaves, and the stamen for the middle of the card. So we'll go ahead. This is, just the packaging, shows you a sample on the back. There are dimensions on here. If anyone was interested, you could pull it up and you should be able to get the dimensions from Fawn. So I'll go ahead and put those aside. So here are my 2 flowers I already have done. So what I did was I have some large petals, I have some middle-sized and some small-sized, and I have the foil only in these ones. I have the foil on this one, like for the large on the bottom, but when I was making my cards earlier this week, I really liked the way that the foil kind of was over the plain cardstock a little bit better than I liked it on the foil on foil. So personal preference, of course. If you like the foil on foil, please feel free to do that. This foil paper is super pretty. Okay, so I have some large leaves and some small leaves, all cut from the foil paper, and then I have the little inside pieces. So we'll go ahead, and the inside pieces, the stamen has 2 sizes, a large and a small. I tend to prefer the smaller, but it cuts one of each, so I'm going to use them anyway because, hey, I cut them. So I'm just going to grab some liquid glue. I'm using the Nuvo Deluxe Adhesive. It's the one I have open right now. So I just take a random large petal and I'm going to add some glue right there to the middle. And then I'm going to add the medium size petals right in the middle. And I want those petals to fall in between the other petals. And then I'll hold that there just for a second to make sure it doesn't move. Then I'm going to add another piece or another dot of liquid glue, and we'll grab a smaller one. Now the smaller one I don't want to be the foil paper, and this one I want to go in the middle of the gold foil, or the medium foiled petals, just like that. So I have the large, the medium, the small, and the medium petals are between the large petals and the small petals are between the medium petals. Then lastly, we'll bring in the gold piece, and I put the glue right there in the middle, and we'll add that right on there. And I like to, again, make sure that it's kind of in the middle. So each layer kind of layers on the middle. You certainly don't need to do that, but that's how I do it. So we have one of our petals all done. I'm going to put that over to dry. And you definitely want to be a little careful with them while they're drying because you don't want your petals to move, because I'm only putting the one dab of glue right in the middle. And you can do these any way you want. Like we could go a regular piece of cardstock. Let's try this one because it's a different color, a little bit different. And then we will add a foiled petal. And then we'll add the gold piece. Okay, and then I'll go ahead, and most of the time I usually just, see, I moved it. Let's try to move it back. And I'm just going to push that out of the way. So you definitely want to be a little more careful than I am when you're doing this. So let's go ahead, and I have 2 large petals left, so we'll just make 2 more. Then I will probably evaluate what I have left and cut a few more petals. Now you could use really small glue dots if you wanted to for this. Anyone who's watched me make any kind of cards, you know I generally prefer my tape runner, but tape runner's a little hard to do on these ones. I thought about using glue dots, but I thought the liquid glue would give me that few extra seconds I might need if I don't line these up exactly where I want them. Okay, and a little gold piece. And we'll just, there we go. I'll put that aside to dry. So I have a couple of the medium, 3 of the small. So I'll probably, oh, I've got some more up here too. What do we got up here? So I'll probably finish putting these together, and then I will be back and we'll make a card. Okay. So I have gone ahead and I cut out all the extra pieces. I have all of these beautiful flowers and leaves cut out, and it makes just such a pretty mess. Okay, so I'm just gonna push these aside for right now. So I need to finish making cards. So I basically made all these and then I let them sit overnight so that they would be completely dry. And in the meantime, I went ahead and cut out all the things I need for making the rest of the cards that I need to send out for Christmas. So I have 12 card bases cut. I didn't have enough red cardstock, so 2 of them are going to be on some black cardstock. I have some red foil paper cut for my mat. The white mats are for the inside of the cards, and then I have these pieces here. They're gonna have Merry Christmas stamped on the bottom. We'll stamp those out with some red ink, and then I'll go over it with some Versamark ink, and we will heat set that with some clear embossing powder. In the meantime, I'm just going to zoom in a little bit so you can see what I did with these sheets. So I went ahead with 4 different red Copic markers and just added random dots all over on these pieces. So go ahead, I'm going to zoom you back out. I forgot to turn this light on over here. Let's see. I don't know if that makes a difference, but it's hard to tell. All right, so what I'm going to do now is put these things aside for a minute because we need to get our Merry Christmas sentiment on here. And to do that, I'm going to grab my Misty. Oh, I have another project in here. Hold on. Okay, so I've gone ahead and I had a bunch of stamps on here from something that I was coloring earlier. So I took those all off and I went ahead and I set up my Merry Christmas sentiment. And that is from I think this is called Merry Sentiments. Yeah, the Merry Sentiments stamp set from Sunny Studio. So I went ahead and I found the spot that I want to put that in. Now these pieces are not big enough for it to go across the whole bottom, so they have to be stacked on top of one another. So I have all my pieces. This is going to go really easy with the Misty because everything's all lined up. And all I'm going to have to do, oops, if I didn't have the stamp or the magnet in the way, I could have stamped that better. So we'll go ahead and stamp this a couple of times to make sure that the sentiment is as crisp as it's going to be able to be. So then when that's done, I'm going to go ahead and we're going to just do the red ink on all of these to begin with. Now, when I put on my polka dots with my Copic markers, I really didn't think too much about where my sentiment was going to be. Like, I kind of knew it was going to be at the bottom. I tried to be a little lighter in that area, but some of the dark markers you can still see through the Merry Christmas. It frankly doesn't bother me, so I'm not too worried about it. And I also did not put polka dots in the middle because that's where my flower is going to go and you're not going to see it. And it actually was surprisingly not as long to put all those dots on the card as I thought it was going to be. Alright, so I think I am going to continue this and then we'll grab the Versamark ink. Okay, so all of these have the Merry Christmas stamped in red, and now we can go ahead and stamp them with the Versamark ink or any kind of embossing ink. I know there's other companies that have this sticky clear embossing ink. I'm definitely going to do it a few times to make sure that the whole area is covered. Then I'm bringing in some clear embossing powder. I did not use a powder tool because honestly this is going to be clear and I don't care if it gets in other places because it's really not going to show. So I'm not bothering with that. Now I'll just go ahead and heat set that. And the embossing just makes the sentiment like really stand out a little bit better, and It gives a little shine. So we'll go ahead and put that aside for a minute. Let's work on the next one. This is definitely a card that can be done pretty quickly, but look like you know, spent a lot of time. I'm not usually one to make a lot of cards that are the same, but sometimes when you're in a pinch, like I am, to get the cards out because I did not have enough, this works fine. Because I still want it to be special, but I want to be able to, like, I don't want it to look like I threw it together, but I want to be able to make them quickly. And frankly, even if I put in all the time that I spent die cutting and putting flowers together and cutting paper and doing this, it's still, like, it's not like something that's thrown together, which is what I don't want my card to look like. It just, all the different steps and having the idea of exactly what you're going to do is what helps speed up that process. Because sometimes I spend as much time coming up with a concept as I do putting it together. All right, so I'm going to finish these up and then we'll meet back and we'll start putting some together. Hello, I am back. So we have all of the sentiments heat embossed, stamped on. We are ready to assemble. So I've got all my flowers, the in piece, my mats, my top mat, my card bases. So let's go ahead and put a few of these together. I'm gonna grab my bone folders. So I've already scored them, but I do need to just fold them over and score them. Sometimes I don't know if it's my scoreboard, but sometimes it doesn't like to be completely even at the bottom. And it could be my paper, the paper that I'm buying. But regardless, let's go ahead and start putting these together. So I've cut this piece here to be just a little bit short to give a teeny tiny, like 1/8 of an inch border. So I've got that on there. We'll go ahead and add the white mat to the center. I am not popping this up on foam because these are going in the mail and there's going to be a little bit of dimension with the flowers. So we'll go ahead and center that. Now for the flowers, I am going to be using some liquid glue. So we'll just grab one flower here and I'm just kind of putting a little bit on kind of that bottom flower on the middle and just not on the ends. I don't want it to be completely flat. And I want to be able to slide my leaves in there. So we'll go ahead and put the flower down. I cut a big leaf and 2 small leaves for each flower. And again, I'm only using the adhesive on the bottom part. That'll allow the top part to kind of stick up a little bit. And there we have it. Then I'll add my white mat to the inside. I'll use tape runner for that. And I can write my message on the inside of the card. I did cut these down to be 4 by 5 1/4 so that you have the 1/4 inch mat on each side, but there we go. And then I can just easily put all the rest of these together. And grab another foil piece. Give it that little bit of a border. Then we will add our white centerpiece. And then my favorite part, adding the flowers. And our leaves. You can put these in any way you want. You could cut more, you could cut fewer. You could use all big ones, all the little flower leaves. You could just even use the layering pieces, like you can make just a big one with like a bigger flower with just 2, or a smaller flower and use the smaller 2. You could add all kinds of leaves, but this is what I'm going to be doing for the rest of these cards. So I'm going to go ahead and assemble those, and then I will show you the finished product. Okay, so finally I've got them all put together, and this is the finished product. So I finished up, hopefully, my Christmas cards. I think if I counted correctly, I needed 12. So thank you so very much for joining me. This video is definitely longer than usual, but if you liked it, please give it a thumbs up. If you'd like to see more and you haven't already hit that subscribe button, I would appreciate that so much. But until next time, everyone, have a great day. Bye.